With video or without video?
I can do with or without.
I thought
You want
Kalau kau
video?
okay, nanti aku tanya dia.
can, I guess.
Camera lah.
To the belly of the beast.
No, because it's just nearby. So kira ke kan. Kita nak pergi apa? PWTC ke KCC ke panggil apa ni.
Is it on? Is it?
Yeah, we are already running. So you just decide when you want to start. You just move on.
Kena intro balik?
Huh?
Kena intro balik?
Ada intro podcast ke jalan je.
Okay.
So who went to see the Merdeka Parade? Some people say that they're more. The crowd is bigger this year than ever before. Well, not ever before lah, since the last few years lah. But I went there 3 years running, and on the Masjid Negara side seems to be the same. Thinning slightly, if I'm correct.
I thought during the night there were not that many cars coming out for the Dataran Merdeka or the KLCC punya light show. I mean, not like previous nights or previous years.
Is that a sign of what? What is that a sign of, like our?
I think Malaysians are not in the mood to party. Yeah, because of the increase in cost of living and everything.
What happened to your spirit? Merdeka, Merdeka, Merdeka. But to be honest, I was not in the mood for Merdeka spirit this year.
Yeah.
Why? What's so
I
bad?
was bedridden
Oh yeah.
You are hospitalized. I mean,
Amirul
to a
suffered.
certain extent, but I did see the helicopters passing by, and it made a hell of a noise passing by. But in actual fact, I celebrated my Merdeka earlier. Because do you know for a fact that if the Americans had not massacred people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki by dropping the atomic bomb, we would have been an independent nation in 1945. Do you know that?
Explain.
Oh well, the Japanese knew that they were going to lose the war, so they have agreed, allowed the leaders of the KMM, the Kesatuan Melayu Muda, after negotiations, they have agreed to allow Malaya then to proclaim their independence on the 17th of August 1945. If that had proceeded, I mean, our Independence Day would be the same as Indonesia. Indonesia did that.
Well,
what do you mean? Indonesia got their independence from the?
In Indonesia,
yeah.
Indonesia, their Independence Day is 17 August 1945.
Yeah, I mean,
And
So they proclaimed first and then they fought later.
no, basically the Dutch.
Yes.
The Dutch came back and said,
And they said, yeah.
no, 9.
So that goes back to the issue of, I mean, hypothetically, let's say that if we were independent gain our independence in 1945, what sort of country would we be living in now? I mean, taking into account the Japanese way of life, the level of cleanliness, the level of responsibility, do you think we would have a better government or worse government?
Well, I think it matters not who you get your independence from, but what you do with it and what what opportunities we see.
Well, I disagree because it also depends on who are the parties that claims to get the independence from whom. I mean, for example, if in today's case, the Alliance or UMNO and MCA and MIC claim to have led the talks, and we are stuck with the government, the federal government now. But if we had the KMN had negotiated the independence, then we would have different leaders and different, I suppose, way of life now.
It's partly true because when we negotiated our independence with the British Empire, of course, they will set certain requirements to our independence. For instance, we have to comply with. We had to enact the Banking Act. We would have to enact the Currency Act. We would have to enact the Gold Act to make sure that the system follows the fiat money system, and the general fiat money system under the British Empire.
Yeah, but I still have a beef with the British Empire, meaning because, first of all, purportedly they were the so-called the smartest race in the world then, but despite their so-called military history, the universities, they had the guns facing the wrong way. And then when the Americans massacred the Japanese in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they didn't actually fight to get back Malaysia, and then they come back saying that they are the rulers of Malaysia. Why did we allow that? I mean, it was one thing if they came back and defeated the Japanese in Malaya, but they came back because the Japanese had agreed to.
So the question there is why did, if you say that the KMM had somehow managed to get the Japanese to agree to give us independence, why did they not just assume power when the date came? Because there was a gap in government anyway.
Well, I suppose you got to go back to the time before war, whereby before the Second World War, whereby the communist influence were already there in Malaysia, in Malaya then, and then the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The British and the communists decided to pool their resources together to defeat the British. To defeat the Japanese. So they trained the communists and they supplied the communists and asked them to form the MPAJA, the Malayan People Anti-Japanese Army. So after so-called Japan surrendered, the British said that the MPAJA are communists, because you can see incidences in, like, for example, in many towns, Batu Pahat, for example, people came, they tried to claim power, and I suppose it was not done in a right way, if you can call it such, by perhaps starting to kill people, killing sympathizers or whatsoever, and then maybe the rumors start to spread that the MPAJA are also communists. But the point is, not all MPAJA people are communists, because many Malayans had also joined the MPAJA not being communists. So why? So this is just a British way of telling the people of Malaya, I think, or fooling people of Malaya to say that you still need us because the threat is there. And because of that, for another 12 more years, they managed to rid the natural resources of Malaya, the tin and the rubber and whatsoever, until we so-called get independence.
Well, it seems that we allowed them that extra 12 years.
So the question now is, who is we?
Well, who is we? I don't know. Maybe those who
had the opportunity to grab onto power and did not have the courage, or did not have the fortitude, or maybe didn't even have the idea of what independence meant. So maybe in that sense we are not ready to be independent.
For me lah, I think it's easy to argue everything in hindsight. We were not there in the shoes, and I don't think it was an enjoyable time when the Japanese were in power. My father and his family certainly did not think so.
Oh yes, same here, likewise.
But at the end of the day, we play the cards that we were dealt with. So right now, what we're gonna do? Okay, the first question is
what we're gonna do? We're gonna form a political party, since the ROS seems to be in approving mode, approving any political parties that have been wanting to legalize themselves, because the government seems to think that the more the opposition, the merit is. So let's just form a political party of our own. You can call it Parti Kunci.
So what do we do with independence anyway?
Yeah, we will hold that question to the next week, Amirul.
But what is this independence thing? What is it? You know, I mean, as it is today, when we look at the political discussion, there is just so much blame game, and for me, every time you blame somebody, then you don't want to be independent. You want to be determined by others. You know, and so it seems that we blame the Americans for this, we blame the British for that, we blame the previous Prime Minister for this, we blame whoever, you know. So what are we doing?
Not just the previous Prime Minister, but the previous Prime Ministers.
Previous Prime Minister. It goes all the way back to Tunku Abdul Rahman. Somebody is still blaming Tunku Abdul Rahman for giving away Singapore.
Of course.
Then
Which is a valid point, because in my opinion, you never trust a Prime Minister that comes from the north.
Okay.
Except for Mahathir.
Except for Mahathir.
Why do I say that? Because Tunku gave away Singapore and Pak La gave away
Pedra Branca,
Pulau Batu Putih. Whereas Mahathir mungkin Sipadan and Ligatan. So we have yet to determine on how
What? Or how what?
how the present Prime Minister would either acquire or give away property.
They gave away already the sovereignty under TPP.
Oh, okay, right. There's even more.
Isn't it easier to just give it up?
Give what up?
Whatever, you know, just give up sovereignty, because then at least you have somebody to blame. You know, because it seems to be the blame of the
Actually, that is the great thing about for the West when they gave independence to their former colonies. They are still able to take advantage of the natural resources, partly because of the system of the game, shall we call it, the economic and the banking system is geared to the advantage of the West. So now they can take advantage without having to station any troops in the country, right?
But okay, so then we are for me this goes to the discussion about capitalism and free market, and where people use it interchangeably. Capitalism is not free market. Capitalism is geared towards those with capital, and clearly it's geared towards those who own banks. It's a banker economy. The capitalist economy is a banker economy, and although they say, oh no, this, you know, it allows for opportunity for everybody to take part in this. It's not.
Trickle down.
It's not. Yeah, trickle down doesn't work. It's been proven time again. So we are agreeing to be tied down with that yoke of capitalism because we have convinced ourselves it's the same thing as free market. And what independence?
That's true. Yep.
Do we?
For the capitalists, I think what they call free market is actually what I call managed oligopoly.
Yeah.
Or somebody said oligopoly. But in my opinion, all this independence movement is actually a conspiracy by the West. Why do I say that? Because when colonial power gives independence, they tend to insist on constitutions. When you have constitutions, that means the constitution is above the Quran in many countries. That's why they have these constitutionalist movements in the early 19s, so that people countries who want to gain independence would need to have a written constitution, and the written constitution in almost all the cases overrides any religious book, be it the Quran or the Bible for that
So what
matter.
do you think of the Malaysian constitution then?
Well, the Malaysian constitution does say a few things which have not been practiced. The simple thing would be kesopanan dan kesusilaan. Because even the politicians don't behave in that manner nowadays.
No, you're talking about making the constitution above the Quran. What do you think about the Malaysian constitution? Where does that stand? Because I have a particular portion of it that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I think our forefathers or whoever it is that negotiated on our behalf had the wisdom to include one small line, which I think to this day
It's overlooked.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's there, and that's the part where it says that Islam is the official religion of the Federation, and that is the single line that puts the Quran above the Constitution, actually. And it seems because the British has relegated the powers of the Sultan to matters of only religion, they say, and custom, so they somehow feel that it has been put aside. They've cast the sultans aside, but actually that phrase puts them back on top. But it's not been applied fully.
Just I agree to that sense, in the sense that yes, you say that, but at the same time, when even the people themselves are, I would say, confused about what type of system do we have. Is it parliamentary democracy, or is it
It's a constitutional monarchy.
It's a constitutional
yeah,
monarchy.
but lots of people now are claiming it's not
Well,
a constitutional monarchy because the rulers, I suppose, do not interfere much in.
Well, here's the
politics,
thing:
yeah.
is I know when
Right.
you know when you say that, okay, they have no more powers because whatever laws that's passed by Parliament and the upper house will go into effect anyway, even if the king doesn't agree.
Oh, that one is thanks to
But-
Dr. Mahathir.
And I know, okay, fine.
But he did apologize.
Well, okay, fine. Whatever it is, even if that is there or not there, even if it's there, then it is a useful tool for expressing their opinion and for people to stand behind them. For example, if you don't agree to, say, the MKN Act baru ni, and if the Agong also disagrees with it and decides to withhold his assent, isn't that a sign that he is on the side of those who disagree? Isn't that a useful tool? I mean, it may not mean much, I mean, practically, but it helps to...
You're
You can use it lah. I mean,
suggesting there is a moral.
not just moral, it's a really useful political tool. If we can say that, okay, now, if we can get the Agong to agree to not sign it, then we know he's on our side. He doesn't have to do anything, just not sign it.
The Agong is going to sign it.
No, so if he's going to sign it, he's going to sign
Pretty
it.
sure.
No, I believe that they are like you were saying about how the British has relegated the role of the sultans to just being the head for customs and religion, right? But now there is this instruments, for example, acts that the rulers can and should take leadership in. For example, there is the Islamic Banking Act. So when you say the sultans or the Agong is the leaders of custom and religion,
That's right.
isn't Islamic banking under
Matter
that?
of religion, yes.
And shouldn't it be referred to them instead of being given to the what you call it, civil courts?
It should be. This is where I'm asking what independence means to us, because all these opportunities are there and we don't take it, and then we sort of just bumble along and hope that something will happen. You know, these are areas which are clearly, those I think were beautiful bypasses that's put in there for whoever put it in there. It was beautiful. You know, you say Islam is the official religion and the kings are responsible ultimately for religion. So actually they are in charge.
Right.
But how do you then use that? You know,
Okay. I think the question of what is the meaning of the phrase, I mean, Islam is the official religion of the Federation, has been discussed at length,
yeah.
even from the beginning. And whatever it is, the accepted convention is that, I think, Islam is an official religion of the country, as particularly for usage for diplomatic purposes. You get it?
What does that mean?
That means that means we can join OIC because our constitution says that Islam is the official
Yeah, that's
religion.
one.
And that is that appears to be the interpretation of the civil service.
So it means that's all that it means. It doesn't mean that we should adhere to principles of Islam and refer to the Quran.
Can, but the question that is built upon the basis of convention. So right now the convention has not really been that manner of interpretation, correct?
Well, convention is the beautiful thing about convention. It can be pushed around.
Yeah, it can be changed.
So maybe we should start talking about it in this manner so that it will start to shift. If we accept whatever is there, then that remains as the convention. That's the beauty of convention. You move it 1 inch at a time until you get it where you want.
If we do that, okay. What about okay? Just to throw this question in the air, what about statutes, acts of parliament which appears to be un-Islamic? For instance, like
Money
Bank
Laundering
Negara Act, the Currency Act, the Gold Act.
That is why we should start changing the discussion, because these are things that needs to be changed. If we start accepting that Islam is the official religion and then therefore the Quran is above the constitution, and therefore then we have to start referring everything back to that. Isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that what, well, I don't know. I mean, if you talk about Islamic finance and you say that Islamic banking and you say there's no such thing as Islamic
But
banking.
we are 3 stupid law grads. Where are the ustaz?
Who else are going to push forward except for fools? Nobody will push forward except for fools.
Only fools rush
Only
in.
fools rush in. Nobody else. That's the job of fools to push for things that seem unreasonable.
It's
But
the job for the ustaz and
no,
academicians
it's
in
not.
UIA and UM.
The ustaz got to make sure that his schedule is full. Masjids will call them, and RTM will call them for ceramah perdana, whatever it is. So you can't say, "Oh, there's no such thing as Islamic banking." That's it, man. You're never going to get called again. So it's up to fools.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But what you say about ustaz, I need to highlight that the Mufti of KL recently came out with a statement saying that we must support the passing of the hudud or Islamic laws or something to that effect. And I can't recall the exact statement, but obviously the BN politicians or more the UMNO politicians are not happy, asking him to take back that statement. Because it might be construed or misinterpreted as the Mufti is supporting PAS.
Well, so he might be. What's the problem?
Yeah, so that's the thing. When a Mufti comes up with statements supporting Islam in legislation, they get shot down by certain group of politicians who might be more interested in ensuring that secular lifestyle is in place rather than
This is exactly why we need more fools. Only fools will go in and put their head on their neck on the line and say, "Okay, this is not right. I'll just say it."
Yep.
I mean, reasoning will take you only so far.
Yeah, that's the thing now. Whenever you make a statement for or against the government nowadays, yes, boil down to if you're making a statement supporting the government, people think you are affiliated with a certain party. You make a statement against certain policies, people will think that you are affiliated with the opposition.
You're talking about a statement against a certain idea, a certain policy, or
Yes.
what?
Yep, certain ideas or policies.
Okay.
Whereas it's just the civil society is the one that is making the case, whether they are whatever colours they are wearing as a political affiliation. So I suppose back to my earlier statement saying that all this Merdeka has got a conspiracy by the West to ensure that the government is secular in nature.
So what should we have done? Should we have done if we didn't want the Merdeka to be the way it is now?
That's a very interesting question which
Malaikat lalu je.
I mean
We try to find something smart to say.
but I thought we are fools.
No, I mean, for me,
The pearls that come out of the mouth of babes. That's what it is today. You know, please don't think so highly of yourself.
I think when we, of course, there is conspiracies, but the point is, what do we do? Right? I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Mufti of Wilayah Persekutuan. I mean, say coming up with support of hudud for me is very easy peasy.
So why don't you like him?
I don't know.
Wait.
Okay, I don't like no, because hudud is just a part of Syariah.
Okay.
I want him to apply everything. So, rather than, because at the end of the day, hudud, if you're talking about offences, most yang will be punished will be the poor and those who cannot run away and have their fun overseas or stay in 5-star hotels so that nobody can disturb them.
You left bungalows in Bukit Damansara.
There are only good people in Bukit Damansara. But number one, we need to look at social justice. We need to look at economic justice. So if you want to talk about hudud, why don't you also talk about the banking system and the fiat money system, which is even worse for me lah. Because
But the thing is that we keep limiting discussion in many areas in life, including the difficult question of right now of gender equality and LGBT and all that, and there's no real discussion about it among Muslim scholars.
True.
And when you start limiting, whether we agree or don't agree with it, we need to open up the discussion, because if we feel that Islam is the big brother, then big brother must be able to listen and deal and articulate the correct
Solve issues.
the position
Right.
and provide cover or protection or somehow provide a stable platform for everybody, kan?
Yes. So that will ensure that no people are Talibanized in Malaysia.
So you limit everything, discussion about hudud, you limit discussion about this, you limit discussion about
But our discussion today is about Merdeka.
That's the thing, Merdeka, the freedom to talk.
Freedom to talk.
I was reminded. This is one particular trip in Paris, and somebody was talking about the freedom of expression, and how at that time they had some crazy idea about, I can't remember what it was, some weird thing about LGBT or something, and somebody said, should we allow this to happen? In Malaysia, we just have frank discussion. And I said, look, if you look at what has happened in Europe, the free and open discussion is what brought them whatever progress that you can see now. Yeah, whether we agree or don't agree with the progress, they seem to have fought long and hard about their ideas and ideologies. So they are comfortable with whatever it is that they are right now, whereas we are still finding excuses for being Muslims. And this is because we have not had an open and frank discussion about what it is to be Muslim, what it is Islam is all about. So they can have the weirdest thing coming out, devil worshipping or whatever it is, but they've agreed that you should have open and frank discussion. And so you will have all sorts of crazy things, from banning the burqa to whatever you want, So that's the flip side, is that you have that. But on the other side, this is what you have.
so on the other side,
Uh,
the court did rule that that decision by the city council is unconstitutional.
yeah, Yeah.
Not only illegal but unconstitutional.
Yeah, so you see, there's a frank discussion within the system. The one part of the system of the the three what the three what
Tripartite.
the three of power, the three.
Separation.
Yeah, the separate the three. Yeah, so the legislature might have passed it, but the judiciary said no, that's not correct, and that's fine. So they'll have a little argument and whatever, but isn't that the way to move forward? That freedom
Yeah. To challenge.
of discussion.
So that also includes the previous Deputy Prime Minister challenging the National Security Act in court recently, and where
Why is that so weird?
no, I'm not saying that it's weird. I'm just saying that why can't other people apart from politicians challenge this?
Is there anybody actually stopping people?
Why? Why is it?